Guys, this podcast is brought to you today by Audible. If you go to agencyhour.com/audible, that's AUDIBLE, you'll start your 30-day free trial, and you can even cancel at any time. Audible is the #1 app for listening to your favorite books. No one's got more listens than Audible. Here's the deal. We love Audible. Emily listens to her books while she's driving, cleaning, working, you name it. And hey, look, I'm not a book reader myself, but I'm obsessed with this app. With your new account, you also get ad-free premium audio for on and offline listening, your own custom library to keep even if you cancel, 30% off exclusive member-only savings, and much more. Go to agencyhour.com/audible to get your free audiobook today. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Agency Hour where Scott's in a rare mood. Alex is in a rare mood. It's a good day. It's a Wednesday, and we usually record on a Friday. And I'll tell you why. It is Alex's last day at Pixel and Hammer.
Oh,
how do you feel?
sad.
Sad? Yeah. For those who haven't listened to his previous couple of episodes, you can go check those out. I'll have them linked in the description of this episode. But Alex has been our, well, quote unquote, he's not really an intern, but he's been our intern for the last 2 years.
He's been our apprentice.
2 years.
Since June of 2016.
June of 2016. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's been 2 years. Wow. So instead of just hanging out here for the rest of his life, he's going to go off to Harvard and do incredible things there. That none of us here can comprehend. I mean, maybe Sarah can probably comprehend the things he's doing, but nobody else can. So yeah, man, what's going on? You ready?
I'm like, yeah, no, I'm sort of scared it's gonna be like really hard, but yeah, I'm excited for sure. We move in on I'm going up Sunday, move in Monday morning, first thing. Yep. And then I'm there till Thanksgiving.
Wow. So what are you majoring in?
So I'm going to major in computer science, probably. Like, I don't have to declare it for a while, but that's the way I'm looking. Math, maybe.
And explain computer science for me. What is that? Like, is more programming, more software stuff?
It's programming, and it's probably going to be a pretty, like, theoretical, like, curriculum, like, compared to, like, their, like, more practical, more, like, theory-based. Like,
so it's kind of like...
If it's anything like my program, it was very generic, like, these are the architectures of code. This is how you organize things. And then they don't really teach you necessarily the actual languages themselves.
I know, like, the intro class, they teach you C, and they teach you how to search and sort arrays in C, and they teach you how to compile C, and that's, like, basically it. Now, I probably won't take the intro class. Hopefully not.
Because you probably already know that.
Yeah.
Do you know how to do all that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but, like, the next class then is, like, object-oriented programming,
right.
Which is, like, C++.
Yeah. And
then they teach you classes, and they teach you how to organize stuff like that. And then the third course...
You could probably skip that one, too.
Yeah, you see, like, I don't know I'm not obviously, like, super good at, like, I'm not going to be able to just, like, compile C with libraries and headers and stuff like that. Like, I'd have to look into that.
But all right, so pause real quick, because for our clients who are like me and don't have any background in code, that kind of thing, what the heck is C, and what's an array? And what basically, what did you guys just say for the last 3 minutes?
Simple terms, guys. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to tackle this. C is just it's another programming language, right?
Is it C as in like letter C?
Yeah, okay, just the letter C. Like HTML, CSS, PHP. C is in that same. It's a language.
Okay.
And then an array is God, how do I describe an array? An array is just like a list.
So
it's a
almost a list of data.
The way I like to describe it is a variable is like a little box with a value in it. And you can label the box then whatever you want. And then if you have something like, if you think of like a pill bottle,
Okay.
Or like the things where it's like Sunday through Saturday and you put all your pills in them. That's kind of what an array is, where it's a whole bunch of little boxes that are connected and then are labeled individually.
Awesome. I think I have about a 12% better understanding.
You know.
It's a list of values. Like, and it's all
like we value honesty.
No,
we value integrity.
It's like a simple array of.
Like I might do an array of categories.
Yeah, an array of categories or like an array of colors. So then the array would be red, orange, green, blue, purple, black, pink, or whatever colors you have in your system or database or whatever it is you're pulling it from or that you're creating.
Wait, I think an array associates like an index with a value. So like it's a thing where like 0 is equal to this, 1 is equal to this, 2 is equal to this, and so on. You know what I mean?
Okay.
1 is equal to blue or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe that didn't help.
Okay.
Okay. That works. So cool. So computer science, maybe math. What do you plan while you're at Harvard? Obviously you're going to, like, the goal is to learn and get a degree and try new things and fail and all that stuff. But like, do you have any like different or off the wall goals that you want to accomplish while you're there?
Well, okay. So I really want to kick butt at like the ROTC thing.
Yeah, right.
So I want I want to be like top. Like they rank you, like they actually put you in order and they publish that list of everybody's like order when you graduate. So I want to be as high on that list as possible. Just because like, you know, that seems like a fun goal.
And what is that? Is that just bragging rights then? Or?
It affects your ability to get the position you want when you commission.
Right. So basically, if you're number one, you get whatever job you want.
Yeah.
Cool.
That. Yeah.
So then, just piggybacking off of that, is your ROTC stuff. You're doing that while you're at Harvard, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then so when you, and that's the, like is that the Army?
Yeah, it's the Army.
Okay.
Basically, what it looks like is I take a class about leadership. And I have to wake up 3 times a week really early to do PT.
Right.
Yeah.
And then once you graduate, is that it? You're done? Or do you have to like do service in the Army for a while? Or what's that?
I've got a 4-year obligation active duty, or you can do like 8 years in reserves.
Okay.
It's like National Guard.
So basically with your computer science degree and your ROTC, and you're probably going to be like number 1 on the list, what job do you want then? For that, like you're probably gonna be flying drones with like atomic bombs on them and stuff.
You see, yeah, I'm like in the wrong branch to fly drones though. Like it's the Air Force, but I'll probably be in like.
Well, hey, by the time you graduate, the Space Force might be a thing.
You see, that's what I was thinking. Like, I don't want to go to Harvard anymore. I want to go to the Space Force Military Academy.
Right.
You know, like, sign me up.
You might as well.
I will transfer if they open it.
Let's do it. I'll go with you.
Bye, Harvard.
I can't wait.
Yeah. But no, like seriously, there's like a cyber MOS, like it's a job you can do, which is, I think it's mostly like you just work with the Air Force's cyber, because it's the Navy that is in charge of cyberspace. Like that's how it's officially put. So like you just work and liaison with that unit of the Navy, but you do like the same things protecting like.
So you're going to be reading my text messages.
Well, maybe not. I could also do like intelligence stuff if I like. That's another path. I think that's what Brendan did in his career. Brandon did.
Yeah. I think his was
like intelligence
semi-linked to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any obviously like the ROTC stuff? That's more of a
I got
professional
I have
goal.
other goals.
Okay, go for it.
Oh well, this is like. I do want to do the podcast. We talked about that. Like, I'd like to get I originally asked for like 6 roommates, but I only have 1. He's really cool. I'm not knocking him.
Yeah.
He's great. But
you have just quick sidebar conversation, because this is a fun tangent. Can you tell our listeners who your roommate is and what his significance is in the country right now?
Oh, my roommate's name is Jonah Lapel, and he's the first ranked place kicker in California and 8th in the nation. And he's going to be the place kicker for Harvard's varsity football team this fall.
Yeah.
And he's cool.
So basically, dude's going to end up in the NFL within the next 5 years.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Would you want to do a podcast with him?
I'd want to do a podcast with him if he's interested, but also like there are like 16 people in my like area. Like we have like a sort of a hallway.
Right.
so I'll invite them all.
Yeah.
And like whoever's available, and you know, maybe just rotate people and like just talk to them. I just want to like talk to them about like what they're doing,
right?
Because I assume that they're all pretty interesting people,
right?
Yeah.
Everybody has a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I would totally listen to that. Just don't. Harvard has a history of people stealing ideas and then becoming billionaires.
Oh shoot! Yeah. Well, wait.
Do you think is that something people just don't talk about?
I was going to call it agency hour, or wait.
You're gonna steal my name?
Yeah.
Is that it? Okay.
Agency hour, and I was going to call myself Alex Sparks, with four X's.
Let's go.
4 X's.
Yeah, because 3 X's will just be bad. Cool. No, I think that'd be neat. I don't know. I mean, who knows? There's like a bajillion podcasts out there, so I'm sure somebody somewhere is doing it from their college dorm room, or what have you. But it would be cool if like you would just, I don't know, it blew up and then you became like the Harvard podcast or something.
It would be cool. Like that guy on YouTube that's like the vlogger.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Everyone knows him. Like we all talk about him.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool. That's really neat. Do you have any fears going into this? Anything you're scared of? I mean, I know you said earlier you're afraid it's going to be hard, but I mean, it's Harvard, dude. Like, come on.
No, I just like
it's going to be hard.
I just like have this picture like in a couple of months where like I'm not sleeping at all and like I'm like super caffeine addicted and like all sorts of like, you know what I mean? Like that I just can't maintain like a proper like work balance. But I think that'll be okay. I just like, it'll probably be like that. Besides that, I mean, social anxiety, like you're the general like concoction of like new places, new people.
It'll be a little bit of culture shock.
Yeah.
The great thing with that is that everybody's feeling that.
It's true.
New for everybody.
Right.
So like everybody as a freshman is like a little awkward and trying to find their people and figure out who they are, and like you kind of settle in. So know that you're not the only one. That's literally everybody that's coming in.
Right.
So
yeah, and that's normal. Okay, these are not my questions anymore. I think this one's from Shannon. What advice do you have for your future self? Like, what advice would you like your 22-year-old self to hear from your 18-year-old self? So what would present Alex give advice to future Alex
well, I mean,
before embarking on this new Harvard journey?
Yeah. This is like sort of weird because I feel like they'll know more than I do. But I don't like, I'd like to make I'd like them to be future Alex to be like not have their like dreams crushed, you know, like future Alex still thinks they can do it, like they can do whatever they want, you know. Like I'd like them to still feel that way. I think that that's very important. So yeah, like really just like you can do whatever you want. Yeah. Like you can make it happen, you know, like. I
mean, I think that's.
Because right now, like I'm at a trajectory where like I could go like I could do a lot of things. So like I future Alex, when Alex is 22, he can still do all those things, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Like I mean, that's the. So you're what, 18 now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have another like 45 years until like you need to just like slow down and chill out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so you're, I mean, like I think about that too. Like when you think about it, like I committed like 10 years of my life to magic. 10 years? A whole decade.
Yeah.
A whole decade to this thing that, you know, barely made the money, and it's like it just barely exists anymore. But like 10 years to one thing, and now it's done. So like you just got to think like, okay, but how do we learn from that? Like what portions do we take with us? Cool, I'm going to take the entertainment portion. I'm really good at that. I'm really good with the videos. Let's mix that together, and now we have a completely new
Levi.
Right.
Yeah. That reminds me of there's a sociologist. I want to say Jordan Peterson, but
I love Jordan Peterson.
I'll have to fact check that, but I believe it's him. But he talks about.
Oh, look, Google.
Wait, sorry. Do you mean my dad, Jordan Peterson?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Probably related.
No.
Yeah.
He was on.
Is that actually your dad's name?
12 Rules of Life.
You're talking about like the guy who's on Joe Rogan.
He was on Joe Rogan.
He was on Joe Rogan a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, not familiar. I'm not sure if maybe the same guy. I haven't like listened to that episode.
Sorry, continue.
But if I'm thinking of the right man, it doesn't really matter who it is. I think it's him, but he talks about this narrow, like in life, there's this natural narrowing, and then like what happens is a lot of times it's hard because like you're saying, Alex, like you have all these dreams, and you're like, when you're young, the world is possibilities, right? Mm-hmm. Like I could be this, or I could be this, I could be this, but as you go, like through like decisions that you make, or just life happening, there's kind of a natural narrowing that happens where you have to make these decisions and you enter into different roles, and then by doing this, that takes away time and experience from other things that like theoretically you could be doing. And it's hard because there's a lot of times that can feel like it
limiting.
Yeah, it's like it's eliminating. Like I can't do all these other things, but like what winds up happening is that like this narrows and narrows and narrows until like you're on a path, but then that opens back up kind of on the backside. So like you might be somebody that down the road is able to create jobs or institute new programs, like, and train up like other new generations of people to do this, or like you have an influence in such a bigger way,
right,
on the back end of that. But there's like this natural on the front end that like just through life and how it goes, like there's a natural narrowing of focus and time and energy and experience.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
like an hourglass.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I think you'll also, and I think it kind of ties into what Scott just said. I think it also, you'll figure out that like, so you'll figure out that like, even when you're younger than you are now, like there's going to be little pieces, right, that like you just take along on each step. So whether that be like now, or like when you started high school to now to end of college to your 4 years in the Army or whatever, and then from then on till whenever, like there's going to be like just a little puzzle piece that fits in each of those puzzles that you're making and you're trying to figure out, right? Like there's always been, like, I just realized like a year ago, like for me, just bringing that back, like it was always that little nugget of entertainment, right? Like when I was 5, my parents signed me up for karate. Why? Because I was doing kicks and breaking boards in front of people. Then I went off and I did dance, and I did like the ballet and the hip hop and the jazz stuff, and I was performing at the Strand, and like it was always in front of those people. Then I did magic, and now I'm doing weddings, and it's always that. There's always been that small piece of that entertainment aspect there. So like maybe with you, there's, you're going to have that puzzle piece is always going to it's always going to go back to that, I think, with whatever you decide to do or build or create. Mm-hmm. And whether that be like a company that employs thousands of people, or like just a piece of software that hundreds of thousands of people use, I think it'll always come back to like that one thing that's you. Yeah. And as long as I think you have that, like, I mean, yeah, sure, you're going to fail at like 1,600 different things before you find that one click. But that's everybody.
Right.
And that's like a natural, I guess, fear to have.
Yeah.
So you've been here for 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
As our apprentice, our part-timer, our intern and friend, what have you learned / gained from this experience? Obviously, we're the reason that you got into Harvard.
I mean, honestly, that's not too far from the truth.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Why do you say that?
Because, like, I mean, I wrote my Common App essay about working here. Mm-hmm. You made that video for me,
right,
for MIT. I did eventually get into MIT.
Right.
And then, I mean, just generally being able to put, like, this experience and, like, the things I've done.
Yeah. It's not really, we can't really say for sure, but like if it wasn't for, it's just another if-else statement. Yeah. If you're not here, you wouldn't have gone here, and you wouldn't have done this, which would have made you apply to MIT or Harvard. You would have went to Brown or somewhere else. So,
yeah.
That's just one of those like philosophy stepping stones of life. Like
you never know.
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what have
I learned?
Yeah.
Really like the entire, like all of web development, like thinking about it coming in when I first like sat here, I was being interviewed by Shannon, Emily, Sarah, and Holly, and like just all of them, and I was on the couch, and they asked me what my experience was, and my experience really was just like Ruby development, like web apps, and I'd only done that because I had been working on projects with friends, and it was like really one or two examples, right, like of like all the projects I'd ever worked on, maybe like one or two big things.
Yeah.
And like now I've worked on like dozens of projects, like some of them simultaneously, and I've learned PHP pretty much from nothing. Like I didn't know any PHP coming in here. I learned how to configure a lamp stack. I could probably do a lamp stack without referencing anything now. Just like, the kind of like fluency with different things, different frameworks. I've learned Statamic, WordPress, Laravel, not really WordPress, but like to a certain degree. And just being able to like get into a new environment and get comfortable with it, because like we do so many different things. Like Shannon tells me to go do an update on JLex. It's in Craft. I've never touched Craft before, but like Craft looks about like Statamic, except like, and I can just like sort of figure it out now, which is something I definitely couldn't do before. Like the first time I tried to set up a web server, it took me like a week.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. And I mean, by all means, I mean,
that ability to figure stuff out and to sort of teach yourself and learn, like keep honing that, because that's going to take you so many places.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 8 years older than you are and full-time employee, and you know more than me. Like that, you know what I mean? Like that's the reality. And I mean, I'm okay with that. Trust me, I'm not like gunning. I don't know what a lamp stack is, and I don't think I ever will. Or Ruby or any of those other things. Like there's a handful of things that like you just know, and I think that's great. I think it's awesome that like even like with my experience, like I might get stuck and be like, hey Alex, let's figure out a solution for this, and like you come up with one in like 20 minutes.
I love doing that.
Yeah,
like that's been my favorite part of being here.
Yeah, it's that's great. I think Sarah's right. Like just don't stop doing that.
Well, and when you get into other interviews and stuff, it becomes less about your experience and what you've done in the past, and more about what you're able to learn and pick up really quickly and run with.
Yeah.
And it opens so many doors when you're saying like, it doesn't really matter that I've never done this before, because I know I can get up and running with this in a matter of like a couple weeks and like be the best person at it that you have.
Right.
Like, and having that confidence to be able to just jump into something brand new and
it's valuable.
Yeah.
And that's been like, I mean, I've only been here for a couple months, so our interactions have been limited, but that's been one of the things that I've just been super impressed with is like, no matter what it is, Alex is like, oh yeah, like yeah, I can learn that.
Yeah, cool.
I'll try that. Like it, like just that attitude of like you just have a general curiosity about yourself that like you're excited to try new things and learn new things, and it doesn't matter what it is. Like you just want to get in there and figure it out. And man, I'm super excited to see like what you do in college and then beyond that, like. Because cool. that attitude is like, that's a game changer, and like no matter where you go, like you're just gonna do freaking awesome things, man. I'm pumped.
Thanks, Scott.
I'm pumped to see where you go.
Do you have an end dream, like an end goal, like you're 45? What are you doing?
Yeah, like I see myself after like being in the military, maybe like trying to go back and like do research, like trying to get like a graduate degree and then like potentially a PhD or something like that, and like just trying to do something like original, and then maybe either stick with that or like start a company based off of original. I think that would be the coolest thing, like discovering something or like researching something, fine-tuning something, and then turning it into a profitable idea and like taking it to market. Like I think that would be like the ultimate goal. If I could do that in my life, like that'd be cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Wait, I have one more thing I was thinking. I think like just the idea of being able to take on problems and like find the solution was allowed for by the way like this job has been set up for me. You know what I mean? Like when I came in the first day, Shannon was like it doesn't really matter how long it takes you because you're just like you're working hourly, you can do your thing.
Yeah.
And that's basically the attitude I've had this entire time. Like nothing's been like very few projects have been stressful for me. Whereas I feel like for the rest of you have deadlines.
Yeah.
So like I just like I can just sort of like know that as long as I figure out eventually it's okay.
Yeah.
And then it's a whole lot more carefree. So I think that's awesome. And
yeah.
Yeah.
That's gonna change rapidly.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's like I mean,
That's
we've all
Yeah.
done that. You know, we've all had things that we could spend 3 or 4 days or weeks on, and then there's things that need to be done like immediately. Like we only have 20 minutes, so. But yeah, those will come and go. As far as like jobs or projects or school assignments or whatever it may be.
Right.
Yeah. When did you start? When were you interested in coding and what you're doing now? You said you started with Ruby.
Yeah.
Was that during high school, before it?
It was like the summer before high school. My friend was moving to Maine, and we were playing a board game called Battle Riskopoly.
Oh, right,
I feel like
yes.
I've told this story.
Yeah,
I might have
yeah.
even told it on the podcast before.
I think so.
But like, yeah, Battleship, Risk, Monopoly, and chess mixed together. We played on all the boards, and he was moving to Maine, so we were going to take it to Reddit, and then we decided like we were going to do like back and forth moves on Reddit virtual board, like uploaded,
Yeah.
like and try to do the entire game virtually.
Right.
And then we decided no, we can make a website, and then I was like, at that time I was just sort of like interested in programming, right? So like I had been following a class online, and that class suggested, oh yeah, you want to make websites, use Ruby. And I don't know why, but it was probably because it was like a fad thing at the time. It was a really popular framework. So I did that, I learned that, and that's what we built the game in, sort of. Although it was really like most of the challenges were front end things like SVGs and like Canvas and stuff like that, and trying to get them all to like trying to build a board game map. Really a video game is what I was trying to make, but I didn't know. And that's how I got started.
You finished that though, right? Or no?
No, we had like 3 iterations, and some of them were like the last one was sort of okay, but it was like buggy. And it wasn't worth it after a while.
Obviously not Ruby, but what advice, or don't use Ruby, but what advice would you give to someone going into high school, or in that beginning stages of like their trying to figure out what they want to do with their lives, career choice, and they want to get into coding and programming? What advice would you give to that person?
I think like if you're trying to learn to program, you can't just like go into it like sort of academically. You have to have a project or something you want to do. Otherwise, you aren't going to be interested enough to like pursue it, because there's a really high learning curve. So unless you have like something that you really think is going to pay off, like I had visions of making like $1 billion off of Battle Riskopoly. Like that wasn't how it started. Like it started as a game, but like we were gonna sell it, we were gonna market it. It was gonna be a big deal. So like that
and
sort
then
of
you were gonna get sued by all 4 of those companies.
Oh yeah, I was gonna get super rich, super sued. But yeah,
It's kind of probably good that it didn't work out.
yeah, you know, things work out, but yeah. So like, just maybe you have to be like dumb or something, but like just being like really motivated by something. Like you have to find a project that motivates you to learn. Otherwise, yeah, like because I've met a lot of people that like ask how to learn. I mean, oh, there it is. That's the repository. We eventually
Levi's pulling it up online right now.
Oh wait, it's the War Room. Actually, I made an entire GitHub account for it, and then we later renamed it to the War Room.
Can I go to it?
No, it's not live anywhere. You can look at the Ruby files. Actually,
I like the commit. Really?
I made it sort of live again recently, so I could put it on a resume for one of the college applications. I forget where it's living right now, though. It's like somewhere.
We're gonna find it.
All right.
I want to see it.
You just Google Battle Riskopoly. You too can access the files.
If anybody wants to build it.
Yeah, go on GitHub, find Battle Riskopoly, finish it, and then
send Alex a check for
give me 10%.
$5
I'll take 10%.
Because Battle Riskopoly wasn't enough. Is this you too? Oh no.
Oh yeah, wait, no, yeah. This is our. Maybe that was one of the private, or that was at one of the subreddits we started when we were first trying to. That was it was two brothers, Jake and Tom Adams, who moved to Domain, and Tom was always like upset with us building virtual Battle Riskopoly. Jake and I built Battle Riskopoly,
Right.
so he's probably just messing with us. I don't know, like how.
Where do you see the future of tech going? What's your predictions? What are your, like, I mean,
that's so broad.
I know.
Like Elon, I think the iPhone's gonna be thinner.
No.
no more like 100% less bezels.
Yeah.
The iPhone's gonna be thinner.
The first cyborg will be Elon Musk.
I thought he was already.
Yeah, he probably is. He doesn't look healthy.
He's a very strange looking man.
Yeah.
Can we just, because I sent Alex a video of Elon Musk interview with MKBHD, who's a tech YouTuber. And I watched it, and he doesn't look, what is his heritage?
He's South African.
South Africa.
He doesn't look normal. What is his heritage?
No, okay, that's not, okay, that's not what I meant. But like, like when I saw him, he doesn't like look.
But all of these pictures look too appealing. Also, he was not well groomed in the MKBHD video.
Yeah,
like he was like sort of disheveled.
Right.
But also, it became apparent that he doesn't really stand up straight. Like I don't know. Like I'm not trying to judge him like based on appearance, but he doesn't look. His vitality does not look strong.
Right.
Well, if you think about, I don't know, like Steve Jobs, he had a lot of
health
quirks
issues
like that too,
Yeah.
where he would I mean, you could see it in the movies where like he was always slouched over or like barefoot or just kind of.
Yeah, he's clearly like a visionary. But
He's not focused on himself.
Yeah, he's not focused on it. I suppose that's sort of like true. You have to be almost to be that successful.
Look at his face. He's kind of weird looking.
You can see it more when he stands up.
Hey, Elon, we don't mean that.
Yeah, no.
We totally want
Sorry,
you on
man.
it.
Sort of love you, Elon. As long
there's-
as you aren't like.
He's never gonna.
Yeah, he's a little weird though. He was being.
Like that nod. That nod was weird. This resting face he has is weird.
He's always like flaring his nostrils like. He's getting ready to attack.
This took a weird tangent.
It did. Okay. So, okay, yeah. Elon Musk will be the first cyborg.
Yeah, I think maybe like online behavior is going to change, and people are going to like maybe be less interested in like social media. I think that's going to happen.
I'm curious your opinions on the whole like smart speaker thing, where like Apple's whole paradigm is everything is channeled through a phone, and then Amazon comes along with this Alexa speaker, and then that starts to become like a pretty big thing. And so there's like debate within that of is you know, not having a screen and just being able to use your voice, is that like the next big like paradigm shift in tech? What do you think about that?
I think a lot of like smart home applications are sort of not useful, but I do think like I guess Alexa and those home speakers are more useful, like the better speech recognition gets and like language processing gets, and they can actually understand, because like right now the amount of things you can do with them is like highly limited.
Right.
So like maybe
But even when you try to think of things to do with them, I feel like those options
aren't
tend to
even
be
that big.
Yeah, they tend to be limited as well. Like, I don't know. There's just not that many crazy things that I need my house to do for me, I suppose.
I think it's just Gary Vee talks about it all the time, and I think it's that they're selling you like time, right? The convenience is what they're trying to give. And I think as long as companies keep figuring it out, whether it's Apple or Amazon or new guys in town, I think as soon as they start to keep on figuring out, okay, so to order a pizza, The way it started was you had to get up, you had to get in your car, you had to drive to the place, you had to order it, you had to wait, you had to leave, drive back home, and then eat it. The whole process took an hour. Mm-hmm. Then somebody figured out, well, what if we just call them and they bring it to me? Give them a little extra money for the drive. That way I don't have to leave. It takes less time. Now it's only 30 minutes. Then somebody created the way of
online
ordering and phone apps, right? Shit, I can go onto my Domino's app, click the button, look at my recent orders. If I want the same thing, click it. Now it's at my house. I don't have to speak to anybody.
And now you can Amazon Fresh a DiGiorno pizza straight to your house.
Well, you can do that, or you can say, hey, Alexa, order me Domino's. And I don't even have to pick up my phone. I don't have to look away. It takes 10 seconds, and the pizza arrives. So I think it's just if we can keep figuring out those like time savers, then it's just going to keep evolving.
I think one thing you might start seeing is like we kind of live in this world of like a million choices,
right?
And so we're constantly overwhelmed by choices, and I think we're going to start seeing that like take a really hard switch back the other way into not so many choices, and like people are going to want things just chosen or recommended for them.
Like expound on that a little bit. Like in what way? Like what is the overload of choice that we have now, and like what does it look like to dial that back or have that more defined?
Well, just things being simplified and cut down. So like it used to be that the idea was to give everyone every option possible, and then they realized that's really hard to not only manage and like you could apply this to applications, to like UIs, you could apply it to like just your shopping options. And there was a TED talk I watched where he was talking about how the like just the availability of different types of jeans have gone through the roof since jeans became so popular. But what ends up happening is because there's so many different variations, you expect them to fit better.
Right.
And then you're disappointed when they don't. And so actually bringing it back down to just like a couple different types makes people happier, because then they don't have such an overwhelming choice and they're happier with the choice they've made.
That makes sense.
And I think
it's just like a psychological thing. And I think we're going to start seeing that come back as far as like, because right now the world is getting to the point where it's too complicated to really, for us to keep up with ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad thing either. Like I'm only 26 years old and I'm sick of getting dressed in the morning. Like I'm tired of figuring out what's gonna match, what to wear, what shoes I'm gonna wear. Like I'm so close to pulling the trigger on getting rid of everything in my closet and buying 3 different color t-shirts and just wearing those and jeans and having like 2 or 3 different types of pants, because it's just so, it's like I have so many things to do, and the last thing I need to worry about is if this button down shirt looks good with these pants, or like what socks do I wear? I don't wear dress socks to our weddings. I wear normal ankle high socks with my dress shoes, just because it's one less thing that I need to worry about that day. But I also think, back to your, like, we have so many options, I think we're going to get less. I think it's very interesting that we also have, at the same time, the opposite problem when it comes to, some technologies and even, like, online things. Like, right, there's only one YouTube. There's only one Facebook. Like if you don't like YouTube, if you don't like YouTube, there's no way for you as like a video creator. Yeah, you can get on Instagram and there's a couple other places, but like you could do IGTV, but like that's limited and the audience really isn't there. Like there's no other besides Twitch for gaming. Like there's no other place for me to upload a daily vlog besides YouTube. And also like our phones. I mean, I know there's like a couple dozen companies, but like realistically we have Apple, Samsung, and Huawei. And I think that's, and obviously Sony and LG, but like nobody buys those. So like there's literally like 3 people selling phones right now, and it's like,
and the iPhone market share is like huge.
Right.
But I would almost consider that like a result of the fact that we had so many options that we just tend to gravitate towards one. In the same way that like MySpace and Facebook really just couldn't coexist in the same space because it was just too much having to deal with two of them. So it started off with MySpace, and then everybody left MySpace and went to Facebook, and MySpace died.
Yeah.
Like if we had the capacity to handle both, they probably both would have stayed alive, but we couldn't.
Do you think that's our fault as a society, or do you think that was MySpace's fault for not acting upon the fact that they're seeing this rush of people leaving and like not like snagging features of Facebook and implementing?
Well, I mean,
like if
MySpace had a lot of features.
Yeah.
I think what drew people was almost the simplicity of Facebook. And now I think Facebook's one of their larger downfalls happening right now is they've become more bloated, and they've become more and more stuff and more. There's just everything's there now. And I think that's probably what part of their struggle is, because and they've even mentioned it in some of their like more recent ads of like, you came to Facebook for the friends.
Right.
And then we messed all of that up, so now we need to get back to that. Like that's really what it is these systems get so huge and bloated, and then they fail because they've lost track of what actually brought people to them.
Yeah. I
think like it's related, but like we have so many choices, and then everyone seems like focused on getting like the best of whatever there is. You know what I mean? Like Yelp, or like when you go to buy something on Amazon and you look at the reviews and you're like trying to figure out like which like salad spinner or something to like is the best salad spinner. Like, do you think we're preoccupied with like trying to find the best thing because there's so much choice? And like, I don't know. I feel like that's new, right?
Yeah, I'm not 100. Maybe it's just me. Like I don't for little things like that. I don't like. I'm not like Emily. Like Emily will go and she'll read every review and she'll compare prices and products and then like sleep on it and wait a couple weeks and then like pull the trigger on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like I guess I'm not like that. Like I'll go to Amazon. I'll like look at the number of stars that it has. I won't actually read most reviews. Yeah. But as long as it's like not sketchy and it's like it is what I want, like I'll just order it. Yeah. Like I do very minimal research these days when looking to buy things. Yeah. Like I know it's like.
No, me too.
I know it's small, but like I needed a pair of tongs, right? The other day we were in Target, and they had like 3 or 4 of them to choose from. I literally took 2 seconds, saw the first one I saw, and like put it in the cart. And then Megs was like, "Well, wait, what about these ones?" And then I was like, "Okay, well here we go. Now I got to compare the tongs."
I feel like I always have the issue of no matter what decision I make, I always feel like it was the wrong decision, and that like if I had just looked a little harder or a little longer, I would have found like a better price or a better product.
And that's the result of having so much choice. If there was only one, maybe 2 options, it would be really easy to see which one is best for you and feel good about your decision. Right. Whereas psychologically, because there's so many options, it's driving us crazy.
Yeah. Like next time you have to
Emily
buy a blender.
spends so much time researching, and then if that thing isn't perfect, then she's going to wonder if one of the other ones would have been.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you think it's interesting how, and this is just a random thought, and I heard it on another podcast, and I've been wanting to bring it up to just anybody, but since we're talking about Amazon, isn't it it fascinates me how Amazon is like the number one reason that we don't have Borders or like bookstores anymore. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then Amazon puts all the bookstores out of business because they're selling all their books online, and now Amazon's opening up physical bookstore locations to sell books. That's fascinating. It fascinates me. Like that chain of like. Obviously, I doubt that was the plan. Like they weren't like, let's run them to the ground, let's sell them online, and then we'll buy up all the real estate and now open bookstores. Obviously, that wasn't their plan. But the fact that it's come full circle that way, it's very interesting to me. How they Because I mean, there's obviously some sort of demand for it. Like people
like physical books or like being able to access
I think
them
the physicality. I think.
Yeah.
I know Barnes and Noble's still around. Like there's one up by my house.
Yeah.
And Megs likes to go in there and just like chill out for like a couple hours. Right. So I mean, obviously there's still some sort of like aspect there, but
I feel like that's been something in recent years that I've seen kind of come full circle too, is just like the general desire and appreciation for tangible material. Mm-hmm. Like even in a design sense,
right,
that everything now can be done everything can be done on a computer. So, you know, you open Photoshop, you open Illustrator, you open InDesign if you want to lay something out and like lay a spread out, and you can do it, you know, with a couple keystrokes, and you know, you have your key commands. It makes things really quick, and you know, boom, 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 it's done. Where like in the old days, with like you actually had to physically set metal type and put ink on it and press it, and like if you wanted to make a change, you had to like physically move that piece of type and like put metal beside it to make sure that the spacing was right. Like all of the stuff that now takes seconds, like at seconds at most, like was an involved process. But like what I think what we're seeing now is there is such an appreciation for like letterpress stuff now, and
right.
They're like the whole Etsy thing of just like handmade, handcrafted. Like we have this technology now that allows us to do things so much quicker. We have
the analog
books
version
that we can buy online, but there's still this like underlying demand for something, you know, physical and tangible.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's interesting because Walmart is starting to sweat now. Because they've been losing the battle with Amazon online, but now Amazon is starting to build brick and mortar stores.
Physical Walmart stores won't exist in 5 years.
Did you hear that?
You think 5? You think 5 years?
I think it'll take longer than 5 years, but they're starting to sweat because Amazon is moving into the real world. They're not going to be just online anymore, and they're already everywhere as far as like their warehouses and their distribution. So they've already got the backbone set up for these stores. Man. All they have to do is let them pop up, and they're like Walmart's going to have a really serious.
I would gladly take that. Every time I walk into a Walmart, like every time I'm like, why am I here? Like, yeah, they have low prices, but like it's at the huge expense of just
soul crushing.
It's soul crushing. Like every time I go in, I'm like, why the heck did I make this decision?
It really is.
Like I would pay I would gladly pay more to go to Target or anywhere else. Like just the whole experience, the brand experience of Walmart is horrendous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like it's probably time that they do die.
Did you hear that? Like it was like an outrageous scheme that they tried in like Texas or something, where they were going to do home delivery, like Amazon Fresh or whatever.
Yeah.
Except the premise was they would let employees take people things on their way home. So like employees would get off shift like half an hour early, and they would have to like load up their personal cars with like stuff and then drive to customers that had like ordered this stuff to be delivered by the end of the day. And they tried that, and they like actually like did an experiment with it for like a couple of weeks or like a month or something in Texas, and like people were just not having it. I just think like Walmart seems like a sort of like an evil company. You know what I mean? Amazon also does to a certain degree, but like Walmart's always seemed like big and evil.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to ignore like all the recent horror stories of like the Amazon warehouses and how they quote unquote treat their employees. So, and I mean I don't know like the full details, or I haven't really read up on too many of those, but it's just I think there needs to be. And that just goes back to like the only couple of options. Like, okay, so if we don't want to go to Walmart and Target's too expensive, where do you go? I mean, I guess there's like Big Lots, which is like just kind of the like cousin of Walmart that's nobody really likes and goes to anymore.
It's like a sadder cousin.
Yeah.
Right. Like somehow sadder than Walmart.
So
I thought Big Lots used to be more like Ollie's, but they seem to have their own brands now.
Yeah,
it's like a cross between Walmart and Ollie's.
Yeah. So that's like, that's just goes back to, okay, well, if I don't want to order online and wait 4 days for it to show up, where do you go? You know? Something to think about. But I would totally shop at an Amazon store. I think that'd be cool.
But even if you think at like grocery stores or something, like there's probably only like, I don't know, 3 or 4 different chains in the general area, and only, Giant and Wise are probably the big ones, and then you've got the slightly more posh Wegmans and
right.
I wish that I had a Wegmans closer to where I live.
And then Aldi's, which is sort of like the lower price point for less features type of deal.
But Aldi has like done such a good job with their branding.
Yes.
And the way it's a good experience going to Aldi. Like
I get an impression of value when I go to Aldi.
Yeah. And it's like it's clean, and
even
their products are
they've
got great products. Like they've done a really intentional job of focusing on their brand, that it's a lot of value, but it's not at the expense of like the Walmart where there's value, but it's at the extent of you have to check your soul out at the door.
Yeah. Can I tell you a story? Like it was
Yes.
that I learned in one of those like Facebook videos you see. So Aldi is a German company, right?
And I think so.
There are 2 Aldis in Germany. There used to be one, but there was a family division. There were 2 brothers in the second generation. One of them wanted to sell cigarettes, the other didn't. So they split into Aldi North and South. And now, it comes the 60s, and Aldi is expanding into the U.S. Both North and South Aldi come to the U.S. One of them calls themselves Aldi, and then the other one calls themselves, can you guess what? Can you guess the grocery store?
Wise.
Trader Joe's.
Trader Joe's.
So Trader Joe's and Aldi are actually both German Aldi, but in America they're branded as Trader Joe's and Aldi.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Now that you say that, I feel like I knew that they were sister
What is
companies, but
German stores, because I'm pretty sure Wise is German as well.
That wouldn't
if you think about
Weiss.
Budweiser or something.
I mean,
it's
a hold.
Weiss.
A hold is like a hold Deinheisen or something, which is a German holding company also,
right.
And they own Giant.
Right.
And they also own. There's another local grocery store that's smaller, but
maybe like Carnes or
Martin's.
Martin's. Yeah, Giant
Martin's.
Martin's.
They also
Martin's
own Martin's.
is owned by the same company.
Right.
Interesting. Hey, Oprah has her own pizza now.
I see with cauliflower.
Oprah pizza with cauliflower crust.
With a twist of cauliflower.
Is it all?
I don't know.
So
it says it's a twist. Let's look.
There's some cauliflower next
it
to
looks
the
a lot.
pizza.
Trying to get the crust right.
1/3 cauliflower. It's 1/3 cauliflower, so there's still.
So it's not
grain
keto
and stuff.
It's better, but not.
So it's healthy.
Did you hear that they finally sequenced the wheat genome? So now they can GMO wheat.
I don't know what that means.
So they had corn
modify.
a long time ago.
Right.
And they've done stuff with wheat, but it's all been through breeding and selective breeding of different strands of wheat. But now they actually can go in and identify genes that are responsible for traits and make water resistant wheat, or not water resistant, drought tolerant wheat.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Salt tolerant wheat.
Water resistant.
Yeah. Yeah, waterproof wheat. For boats.
Can they make gluten-free wheat?
Wouldn't that be interesting?
Well, I think that might be what they're aiming for, is gluten-free or something like that.
What does the gluten do for the wheat?
It just reminds me of the.
It's a great
fundamental.
I don't know. I don't know enough about that to answer that question, but.
Are we going to get to sing the outro?
No, we're not singing the outro. All right,
but that's another thing that's coming soon is CRISPR and gene editing and.
Oh, that's for
CRISPR.
sure.
Have you guys heard it? Have you guys heard about CRISPR? Listened to it, read about it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to see where that goes.
I'm a little terrified to see where that goes, to be honest.
So Levi, you're shaking your head. No,
no. I mean, it's I'm all for whatever it is, or whatever it turns out to be. Obviously, there needs to be I think it's still in testing. I know it's a thing now.
It's mostly rats and stuff. Though.
I was gonna say I think they just did it with. I think they're working on doing malaria-free mosquitoes right now, or mosquitoes that if they get bit or have malaria, it kills them. So that they don't spread it or something along those lines.
Yeah, I've heard that. That's crazy.
But my biggest worry with CRISPR is that you make a gene edit and that's going to be around for generations.
Right.
So you could potentially ruin entire species doing that, or.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. To think of the implications of some of this tech.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. We gotta wrap this up.
Yeah.
Buddy, brother, it's been a pleasure.
I'm going to miss all of you.
Thank you so
We're gonna
much
Miss you too, man.
for your work, your dedication, your ginormous brain, your Harvard level knowledge of just about anything you touch. Do you have any final words? Any last thoughts or things to say?
Not dying.
I know he's not dying. Any last words?
Give your own eulogy.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Hey.
Classic.
All right, everybody. This has been another episode of Agency Hour. You can, if you subscribe to the podcast or just go ahead and like Pixel and Hammer on Facebook, you can follow. We'll have updates periodically of Alex and his journey on Harvard. And obviously he's going to be back over the summers and to visit, so he'll be back on the podcast soon. And who knows, maybe we'll Skype you in from the dorm room one of these times or something.
Oh yeah, for sure. Wait, can I try again?
Yeah, okay, go for it.
Luke,
That sounded like you were saying like.
It's only because it's your last day and you're going to Harvard. That's it. Have a great day, everybody. My name is Levi as well. Sarah, say goodbye to the people.
Adios, everyone.
Scott.
Goodbye.
Alex.
bye.
Get out of here.